there's a little bit of wrestling news to talk about today. I mean, we talked about the Kenny Omega stuff and, you know, Triple H showing up and very vague about stuff and wanted to do a lot more today that I didn't do. And that's just the fact of being here. But there's a couple things I want to get into, but I do want to tell you the Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho match is coming. And before we get to some of this news here, here's a preview for you patrons. I don't think I've ever heard an ovation like this in all of my time calling professional wrestling. This is incredible. Here we go! Here he comes! Champion of the WWE, and he's left it all behind to come here to New Japan Pro Wrestling at the Tokyo Dome to face one of the biggest stars in all of wrestling. It's Alpha versus Omega. Chris Jericho is here, and I've got chills. This place is unbelievable. These people are absolutely ready to explode here. Shot to Chris Jericho, wondering how this thing was going to go early on, and got some of those answers now. Jericho blocks. And now that face lock by Jericho. And turning it around on Omega. Big time neck breaker by Jericho. Oh, yeah, that's going to be a good one. It's going to be another one of those. It's going to be a good 2K wrestling match. I know that. Pete Dunne on why WWE trying to kill the indies opinion infuriates him. So he believes, so he's upset that people think that the WWE is trying to kill the indies. And honestly, to me, it seems, if anything, that the indies are trying to kill WWE. To me, it just seems it's the other way around. You know, he's upset about that, saying because he feels that opinion infuriates him, it says. But yeah, it seems to me, it seems more like WWE is under siege by the indies more than anything else. But that's just how I feel about it. I mean, maybe you guys could be telling me I'm wrong. I'm not sure. I just think that the indies. It's never been so spread out. Right now, wrestling has never been so globally spread out. It's almost like, in a small way, not the territories necessarily, but in a small way, territories are sort of returning in a weird way, but in a lesser way at this time. But could we see that start to happen again? Where places like PWG and all these things, but at the same time, doesn't WWE want to redo what they did with the territories, where you buy out your competition, you kind of step on them, and you get rid of the competition, and now you sort of have a hand in all of the competition. That way, when anytime someone sprouts up who could be a little bit successful, you make sure to get your hands in there, take some of their talent, and kind of hold everybody at bay, because the last thing you'd want is someone to creep in there and just take over. But, and I don't think we're there yet with WWE, with knowing that they're definitely undermining everybody and everything, and maybe they are a little bit, actually. It seems like they are in many ways. Because why are they acquiring all these things when then they bring them up from NXT, and then they're just utilized poorly? Look at Neville. I mean, let's look at Neville. But then someone who argues for the WWE would say, well, Neville, they gave him the Cruiserweight title. He was on worldwide television week to week, and as a champion had a prominent role on Monday Night Raw. This is a guy who was ascending. Why would this guy be upset? I think a bug just flew in my ear or something. Why would this guy be upset? He was living the dream. What was the reason for the? But and I know that a lot of the reasons were like, left off the DVD. How the cruiserweights are being treated, how certain things are being treated. Shane Helms. There's some news about Shane Helms here. Funny enough, Shane Helms. This comes from WrestlingInc.com. Let me see here. Yeah, here it is. Oh yes, this was transcribed by Peter Bahi. And I know Peter. He was a guy who once said to me that if I was on LeBar's show, even for a few minutes or something, he would have to turn it off, and how he was disgusted that I would be on LeBar's show. What's up, Peter? You dickhead. But anyway, I'll give him the credit anyway, because I didn't need to even say his name, but I did, because I'm not a douchebag like him. But either way, he's good at his job. That's probably a fact. Basically, Hurricane saying, talking about on WWE departures, who can carry Impact Wrestling. I mean, can anyone really carry Impact Wrestling at this point? The place is a mess. I did not see Bound for Glory tonight. You'd have to tell me if Bound for Glory was good or not. I'm not sure. It looked like 5 people were there. But in all honesty, those wrestlers are great. Just the whole company is a mess, though. Everybody there makes sense. And it looks like Jimmy Jacobs showed up on Bound for Glory. I saw that, which is just, their latest gimmick of the revolving door of, getting somebody to come in and say, now this guy's here. He's trending in the news, so let's get him to walk in the door and throw him a couple bucks. But then within 3 weeks to 4 weeks to 2, whatever it is, 3 months, he's out of there. And then they move on to the next guy. If some wrestler pees on another wrestler in Japan or something, they'll have that guy come on for like a couple episodes, because you can kind of get him on sort of for cheap in a way or whatever. Hey, come on over to Bound for Glory. You just got fired by WWE, Come on over here. We'll have some fun. We don't have too much. We could throw you $500, $1,000, whatever it is. Maybe there's nothing. Maybe just wanted to help. I don't know. But, they did the same thing with Bruce Pritchard, and then they moved on from him. Okay, well, now let's get Jim Cornette, and so on and so forth. So that's what's been going on over there. He says the problem with 205 Live doesn't have the star power the main roster has, he says. See, I'm coming at this from a whole different angle. Sure, 205 Live maybe doesn't have the star power, but one of the bigger problems for me is that they weren't even featured to be stars. So how could they have star power if they can't be allowed to be stars? They would just go out there and wrestle 2 minutes to 3 minutes to less matches on Raw week after week after week. What's going to make people say, wow, I've got to watch 205 Live. That's great. Is that how you build a star? That's not how you create a star. Look at all the ways that WWE created stars and helped make stars back in the day. And we're not even back in the day. Just go back to the late 90s. The mid-2000s, early 2000s. You create a star by creating a star. You don't create a star by hiding the 205 Live show and tucking it away on the WWE Network and telling everybody that, oh, this is the show. They flip and flop around for 90 seconds and then it's over. I mean, I get that, Enzo is a different character than all these other guys are. Gulak is a guy that can do it, but nobody else is really given that opportunity. And in fact, Neville's somebody who was more of, known for his in-ring ability. Sure, he was pretty decent on the mic, though. I liked Neville because I believed him when he got mean, but then he went out there and he did all the stuff in the ring that was just awesome. So if Neville was a 5 or 6 promo, maybe a 6 promo, you still kind of believed him. Like, you took him seriously at least. And what he did out there in the ring was so damn good. That was maybe an 8. Maybe an 8 or a 9, whatever, depending on how your opinions are about what styles of wrestling work and what don't. In many ways, things can be one-dimensional in many ways. You are only going to be able to tell a story through your wrestling. which a lot of people, you could kind of argue that, like, whether that's, you know, like Bret Hart. Bret Hart could tell a story through his wrestling, you know, but sometimes the story, it's the type of story that's different. Sometimes two wrestlers can come together and tell an emotional story in the ring. Sometimes they can tell a story of athleticism and determination, and that seems to be more of the story that you would see like at a maybe a New Japan or something like that, or even NXT. And a lot of times the emotion comes through the will of the fight, or the emotion comes through the expression of the wrestlers as they're trying with all their heart and life to win a match. And that's the story. But we're not referring to the old WWE story of, you know, Randy Orton telling some new guy that, you know, he's going to hurt you and you'll never be anything, kid, that type of thing. And Randy getting the upper hand in the match, and then the match progressing like that and building. And so there's different ways. That's the thing I think everybody gets hung up on, is there's different ways to tell a story in a match that is essentially a story. And not just a match. But sometimes a match is just a match. And the story is who's going to win. I mean, sometimes it's that way, and it's weird, and it's all over the place. But they're having trouble finding that balance right now in WWE. They're having trouble finding the balance between cruiserweights and the stories of Monday Night Raw. And it's like nothing is good enough. They can't quite sprinkle in everything to make it just right. NXT comes really close. NXT takeovers are sick. Like, the crowd is all on board. The wrestlers are all on board. Everyone's bought in. And regardless of if the emotion, you know, doesn't maybe seem to be a classic WWF emotional story as far as a wrestling match goes, but that's not there. But emotion is there, and highly there. Emotion is more there than on many of the Raw shows and SmackDown shows and other shows that we see. And they almost hit a perfect stride in NXT. And if NXT could have just a little bit more of that sort of attitude era like storytelling, or, you know, crazy entertainment like storytelling, that would be awesome. If they did that, then it would be just perfect, because the wrestling is there, you know, the emotion is there, and now the week-to-week story, that's what NXT is kind of missing, that sort of very cohesive week-to-week story. I have to tune in next week to see what's happening. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't need to tune into NXT every week. I don't feel I have to. And I don't really feel I have to that much with Raw and with SmackDown. Now, every once in a while, SmackDown or Raw, especially SmackDown, had been doing this well, where they've been doing really good promoting the next week's show. And, oh shit, what's going to happen next week with that, I guess. But that's all been up. That went away, and now it's kind of like up and down, and you don't know what to expect. And it's just a mess. And that's the biggest problem, is WWE's biggest problem right now is week-to-week storytelling. WWE can have a shocking storyline happen, or a story thing happen. WWE can have a shocking moment, sort of, or a wild moment. WWE can have a wild announcement, a crazy match booking. WWE can have a crazy call-up from NXT. They can have a crazy return from, like, Goldberg or somebody. WWE can announce something kind of wild and out there. WWE can flip a title that no one expected someone to lose the title all of a sudden. You know, WWE can do all these little sort of sparky things to sort of like to nudge the product along. But what they haven't done, I think, anywhere, is create a must-watch week-to-week show. Even NXT. Sometimes NXT, I miss it. I missed what happened. So what? I'll watch it in 3 weeks and I'll catch up on everything. And okay, I get what's going on now. Whatever. But I know the NXT TakeOver is going to be sick. So I'll just watch the takeovers and sort of keep an eye on what's going on. And that's not my fault. That's WWE's fault. You're not keeping me engaged week to week on everything, on any of the products whatsoever. So you can have a great match here or there. NXT can have really good matches. You can have good big-time news, big announcements, shocking sort of thing happens. But the week-to-week storytelling is not there, and that's why you're seeing a disconnect in many ways, including attendance, some of the money, pyro being gone now, fans arguing amongst each other, 50-50 booking, no real definitive leaders of just absolute the top 2 superstars in the world, top 3 superstars in the world. You got John Cena, who's faded quite a bit, but is still the top guy. You got Roman Reigns, who's, they sort of tout as the number 2, but he's not doing as well as Cena. And many people hate him, in fact. Don't like him, want him to even turn heel, but he's not heel, and what's a heel anyway now? And many people like AJ Styles, but a lot of the casuals might not really. Who's moving the most merchandise? And then it waters down from there. If Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock and The Undertaker and all these guys are, like 9s or 10s or 8s or whatever you want to call it, to me, Cena, Cena's still around an 8, right? Like, Cena's around like an 8 right now. I don't think so, because if you look at John Cena any time in his career, at his best, what was he to you? Was John Cena at his best a 9 or a 10 or an 8? I don't know. Right now, to me, John Cena is like maybe an 8, maybe a 7.5, Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Let's say he's an 8 out of 10, and he's the highest. He's like the best thing you have, and he's an 8. What's Roman Reigns? A 7? I will just give you my opinion, and you might disagree. You might love Roman Reigns. I don't know. But for me, if somebody says, hey Joe, I've got a ticket for $50, and it's going to be Roman Reigns versus John Cena, I'd say no thank you. No thanks, ma'am. I'm good. If somebody said, I have a ticket, Jinder Mahal versus Shinsuke Nakamura, I would say no thanks. No thanks. Keep the ticket. Fuck it. Let's say the guy was offering me free tickets to the Boston Garden. All I gotta do is drive there. Nope. Not going for either one of those matches. I love Shinsuke Nakamura. I do love Shinsuke Nakamura. But based on what I've seen, nope. And Jinder Mahal is the champion. Cena or Reigns at any point could be champion. I'm bailed on Lesnar. I don't care for his matches anymore. I actually thought him and Goldberg did a good job at Mania for what they had to do. Just a couple big moves. They did things, and then it was over. And, at that time, I actually agreed with it. I thought it was I got to give them credit. I thought that thing was going to be potentially could have been terrible. And it wasn't that bad. And that's it. That's how I feel about everything right now. I just laid it out there. There's a problem. But if you told me, Sami Zayn versus Shinsuke, I'd be game for that. But I shouldn't be able to just sit here and just hear names and think those are the matches that I'll go to. You should be able to create a storyline between anybody and create the match to make me want to go buy a ticket. But right now, the only wrestler, if you told me somebody was wrestling somebody, if you told me AJ Styles was wrestling anybody, I think I would go see it. I will pay for AJ Styles. I will go see AJ Styles. That's the guy. You tell me AJ Styles and Shinsuke, like, bam, like, oh my God, am I jizzing my pants for that. But other than that, like, competition, what am I going to be excited about? Because there's no freaking storylines that week to week make me want to just, wow, I got to be a part of that. That's different. Or this is something, these guys are something to see. No way. Back in the day, there was tons of that. And tons of stories that were set up. Braun Strowman Is he the number 3 right behind Roman, or is he overtaking Roman? Is he overtaken Roman? I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore in this video. You guys let me know in the comments down below. Let me know what you think, and we'll talk about it there. Also want to remind you, Corrupted Podcast episode number 23 is available now in audio form on patreon.com/Joe Cronin Show. You guys were able to hear it live on the YouTube private video feed, but now it's also been uploaded in audio form, so you can download it if you want to. So thank you guys for listening to this video, and you let me know in the comments what you think about what I just said, if you understood any of it. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for the Monday Night Raw review live on my other channel, other channel where I have to go live from until December 17th. It is youtube.com/corruptedpodcast, a podcast that's usually reserved for just our sort of raunchy late shock-style show that we do. But now it's also housing my wrestling live videos until December 17th. And thank you to everybody who signed up on Patreon and became a new patron. Am I hearing some kind of noise? Am I the only one hearing that? What the fuck is that noise? Samuel Riley, $2 pledge. Thank you, Samuel. Smoff 1992 with the $5 pledge. Elias with the $2 pledge. Thank you guys for becoming patrons. Welcome to the Cronin Club. Ray Rollins also pledging $2. Ray Rollins, thank you so much. Shout out to Mr. Hardcore. And there it is. What the hell is that? Shout out to Brian Himmelfarb, who increased his pledge up to $25 as well. And Tickle Me Daniel. Tickle Me Daniel with $5 as well. Anthony Coppola pledging $5 also. Ariston Gothia. Damien, thank you for the $1 as well. Or he's at $1. What is that noise? I swear to God, I'm going to stab myself. Guys, I'll see you later. More patron shout-outs as they come. And I'll see you for the Raw review.